local member provincial parliament for Barrie and Isfel. I get a lot of calls and I get a lot of questions from local businesses. Our area here was really founded upon entrepreneurship and small businesses. So when I heard a lot of questions of, Andrea, what can I apply to individually for supports for me and my family versus what do I qualify for as a business owner, I had decided to launch and update my new website, AndreaMPP.com. On there, we made it clear, if you click on, you can see all the available supports for you as an individual, be they from the federal government, provincial, what the municipal level of government is offering, and any other organizations and what supports they're offering. And at the same point, we also made a section for business owners so they can see what is available out there for them, not only from the provincial, federal, and municipal governments, but also other third-party organizations that may be providing business loans or other helpful supports. For instance, the Ontario Chambers of Commerce has a really great guide out there to help businesses. And of course, Nottawasaga Futures has also put out a loan for businesses. And Facebook is also coming up with a small business loan as well. So there's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of people that are eager to help. So I was trying to make it a lot easier for our residents here so that they can have a one-stop shop for a lot of the information. But on top of that, the other things that I've been hearing a lot about, as you were mentioning, is what are small businesses? What are they to expect? When can they reopen? And when can we get back to the so-called new normal that everyone refers to? So as part of that, the provincial government has done a few things to date. We've put out a framework for what reopening looks like. And to complement that, we put out some guidebooks that are broken down into different industry. So for example, if you're a restaurant, you can now consult this guidebook that's done by the Ministry of Labor, which tells you what should you be doing now as an employer or as a business owner to get your business ready to open. Because the reality is, if our cases go down and say the provincial government or the federal government says tomorrow things are going to open, the reality is they can't open as they used to before. We don't have a vaccine for COVID-19, so there's some precautionary measures that individuals have to take upon themselves with personal responsibility. But as an employer, there's things that you need to take into account for your employees, washing your hands, certain distancing measures, and so forth. And so these guides are really meant to be there to help workers. They're not there to be obstreperous, get in their ways, be a top-down approach. It's very much trying to work with owners to tell them, what can they do. In addition to that, we hired more enforcement officers, and they have a few different roles. For the beginning part, when we launched these guides to help, whether you're in the agricultural sector or manufacturing or food industry, you go through this guide and it tells you how to prepare for a reopening. Well, now the officers there are also there to help you work through the guide. So if there's something unclear and they pay you a visit, they can also help you with that, both over the phone and at a distance in person, of course. And so that's part of their role as well, not just to be top down and saying, you did this wrong and here's your bill. Certainly, that's not the purpose of the relationship. Is to work through how can you operate your business safely and better. And frankly, it comes down to what can you do. As we keep getting these numbers down, as a government, we can help businesses start opening up again. And that's better off for them because, you can have all the social supports possible or all the wage subsidies possible. But at the end of the day, if that business isn't open and it's not able to make payroll and run business like it used to, it's not going to be a great situation after we're out of this pandemic. So I'm wearing green. It is May. And May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and so it's also time for us as individuals to reach out to friends and loved ones, just to check up on them, see how they're doing. As a provincial government responsible for healthcare, a lot of investments had been made before COVID-19 into mental health, and of course we set out an ambitious agenda to invest more in mental health here in the province of Ontario than any time in Ontario's history, because it's become so prevalent, and we have to think about everyone who's affected, including our frontline workers. So one of the latest additions to mental health supports is being able to do a lot of it online and digitally. So one of the things that a lot of people have now access to is more online supports, whether you're a frontline worker or you're someone who is feeling a bit anxious, anxiety, you're having any stresses. So we want to make sure that those supports are available for young kids, for teenagers, for adults, and our frontline workers. So a lot of those supports are available online. I do encourage everyone to visit, our COVID-19 website as a province, the coronavirus.ca. Certainly there's a lot of mental health supports there. The online piece, though, is very key, because before COVID-19, a lot of services were referrals. They were done in person, and sometimes there was often some barriers to access the support. So as much as we're trying to do during this pandemic is trying to make headways with technology we have to break down some of those barriers so things are a little more accessible. Because for some, it might take an extra step. It's not, for them to go out of the house to seek support might be a lot, but to pick up the phone and make a phone call or send a text may be more accessible. A lot of individuals are asking, what can I do? You can see the sun shining through my window here. The weather's getting nice, and Barrie, we embrace the winter, but we also embrace the summer. So, you can go out, and I know this past weekend I did a lot of de-weeding of my lawn. And you can turn those dandelions into some salad. You can grow your own vegetable garden in your backyard, or look after your flowers. One thing provincially we encourage was community gardens. So if you have a community garden near you, through public health, those things are certainly possible to help with. So encourage you to get some fresh air doing that. And of course, if you are going to a community garden, public health guidelines are you do have to stagger yourself a bit, but you can still enjoy the great outdoors. So, try to make the best of the weather, do it safely. And, for some of us coming out of this, we can check off that to-do list we kept trying to get after, whether it's that part of your backyard that needed a little sprucing up, or that shed that needed some organizing, or that wall in your home that needed to be painted. So spending more time with your kids and your loved ones. I know for myself and my fiance, we rarely have, 2 meals a day together. And so we're trying to make the most of that in our busy schedules. So it's an opportunity to slow down and kind of enjoy the time with your family, and enjoy the things you still can do despite this time we're in, and know that the results, a lot of the results are coming in, a lot of the tests are coming in. We're seeing some positive data, and to stay strong and to stay positive.